Okay, so in chapter 4, we're going to talk about location and how to avoid costly location mistakes. As always, do not use this video to make a financial decision. Hire a team of real estate professionals, as outlined here, before you make a decision of any kind. So in this chapter, we're going to discuss why knowing your vacation home market is critical to save you both a lot of time and a lot of money. You have the option, you can buy a vacation home anywhere in the world, but there are some basic steps that you can do to make sure that you are familiar with the location and the market enough before you make a decision. Once again, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. If you can share and like this video, we'd appreciate it. You can subscribe to our channel. And what do you think? Like I say, if you have any ideas, just leave them in the comments below, and the subscribe button is right there below. Just click on that and we'll proceed. So this chapter explains why knowing the vacation home market and location is critical before you buy. We're going to explain the importance of market knowledge and the traps to avoid and how to gain sufficient knowledge so you don't fall into these traps. We're also going to explain some of the traps people fall into and provide some simple steps that will hopefully save you time and money. So, knowing before you buy, this is critical because once you buy, it's too late. So in a market like Orlando, there are over 40,000 vacation homes in over 100 vacation home communities. There are a lot of choices. There are good locations and bad locations. There are good homes and bad homes. So no matter where you're looking when buying a vacation home, knowing your market is really crucial. If you rely exclusively on the knowledge of others, you're going to set yourself up for a lot of risk. So this chapter, we're going to help alleviate some of that pressure. So the oldest thing in the real estate book is location, location, location. Everybody knows that buying real estate in good locations is the most important thing that you can do. So knowing the destination that you want to buy a vacation home in, or the general market, is not enough. You need to know the locations within that market. You need to know the subtle differences in those locations within that market. And you'll see that location becomes really important if you ever decide to rent your vacation home or sell it one day in the future. Another thing that's really critical, as well as the location, are what type of homes are most desirable for the market that you're buying in. You need to know what the market's doing, what locations are doing, but also what type of homes within those locations are the most desirable. For example, here in Orlando, vacation homes as close as possible to the attractions are the most desirable. Pool homes generally rent the best, then townhomes, then condominiums. But there are always exceptions to these rules, depending again on the market and the location. And you need to know what these differences are before you buy. This can be very confusing, and that's why you need to do your research before you buy. So what are the traps we see people fall into? So people looking to buy a vacation home generally have poor market knowledge. Why? Well, for the simple reason that they don't live in the area full-time that they're looking to buy a vacation home. This means there is a huge potential to make mistakes, and there are several traps you could easily fall into if you don't know what you're doing. So the 4 key market mistakes we see buyers like you quite often make are the following. And here you see a gentleman chasing a vacation home with his money. The biggest one we see is the buyer has little to no real market area and location knowledge and buys a vacation home on a whim. This is the most common mistake we see people visiting an area like Orlando that we see them make the most often. They literally don't know what they're buying relative to all the other vacation homes in the market. The second big mistake we see is they rely exclusively on other people for market information, when there can quite often be a conflict of interest. So if they're relying exclusively, say, on a real estate salesperson, that salesperson might try and put the buyer in a certain community if they're getting better commission. They might be an inexperienced salesperson and they don't know all the markets and the locations. They might be doing it part-time as a hobby. They're not a full-time professional. So you really do need to research the real estate agent that's going to help you in this process, and we have a whole chapter on that. But in that chapter, we'll get into hiring full-time agents with decades or years of experience that specialize in vacation homes, and they know their markets back to front. So as we go through this process, you need to remember to relax. There's no rush to buy a vacation home. A vacation home is a discretionary item. It's a luxury item, and it's something you can take your time and do your research. So just take your time. There is no rush to buy one. Step number 3 is what we call the 5-visit rule. You need to visit the location you're looking at buying at least 5 times. If you go on vacation once a year, this would be 5 years. Every year for 5 years. Each time you come, you stay in a different home, you stay in a different location, different types of property managers, and you interview lots and lots of real estate professionals each time you come. That way you can start to begin to create a picture of the market and get a really good understanding of what's going on. The fourth mistake we see people quite often make, they've seen these travel TV shows or they've spoken to a slick salesperson. Don't fall in love with the romance of owning a vacation home. You have to be practical too, and slick sales pitches and watching exotic TV shows make it look very glamorous. If you have limited market knowledge, you are putting yourself at risk, so be careful about that before you begin the process. The fifth most common mistake we see, or more of a warning, is remember, if you don't know the market, you are an easy mark for a slick salesperson. So you need to be very careful and very cautious before you proceed. You have a lot of options, a lot of directions you can go in. You're going to need guidance, but you're going to need to do your market knowledge and research first. Remember, if you're out of state or you're a foreign national from another country, obviously you're going to have very limited market knowledge, and it's your responsibility to make sure you gain as much knowledge as possible. Purchasing a vacation home and having zero market area knowledge is potentially putting yourself in a very risky situation. So in summary, if you are buying a vacation home in a market you have not spent extensive time in, you are at risk. So obey the rule of 5. Get educated on your market. Visit your desired area at least 5 years or 5 times in a row, and on each visit do extensive market and area research, renting different types of homes, interviewing numerous real estate professionals, and doing your homework. And then if you still want to buy a vacation home after your 5th time and doing all your research, you're probably a good candidate at that point to buy a home. So remember, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. Hit the share and like, we appreciate that. Subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think is important. Thank you for watching and subscribe to our series.